I chose the tomb of Pope Julius II as the bigger disappointment between the two. And when I think Pope Julius, we knew he was a big art guy, and he wanted to be remembered as, look at the stuff that I had commissioned while I was a pope. He had Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel, and that is well known throughout the world now. And so he wanted people to remember this tomb. So he commissioned Michelangelo for it. And when Michelangelo showed him the plans for it, he was really excited. He was amped up. He was super ambitious with it. He wanted it to turn out spectacular. So he writes that he had the St. Peter's Church rebuilt so that Michelangelo could build it in there. And when you look at the plans for it, it was supposed to be 24 feet by 36 feet, and it was supposed to have three tiers and 40 sculptures. So it was going to be just a massive sculpture, and it was supposed to be freestanding. So it was going to be probably the greatest sculpture ever made at the time, and probably still today it would have been. It just didn't really seem all that realistic to me until you look at what you look at the Moses that he put into the final product, and you look at the detail on that. You look at the hair, like the muscular body, the stone tablet, the facial features, the eyes, everything is unbelievable. It's just incredibly detailed and precise. And Vasari writes that it seemed like Moses, or not Moses, Michelangelo threw out the chisel and he just took a brush to it and got it made that way. It was so smooth, and it just was an unbelievable feat. So Michelangelo definitely had the talent to create this sculpture. It was just he just didn't get the time he needed, and he was really bad at delegating work. So Vasari later writes that after Pope Julius dies, uh, Pope Leo gets elected, and he has him go work on the Medici's tombs, and then later on they work on the library and stuff like that. So he just gets pulled away from his work with the tomb. I mean, it's some of it. It's not Michelangelo's fault. He had to go. Even Pope Julius made him paint the Sistine Chapel in the middle of it, so he just got pulled away from it. There were some arguments between him and Pope Julius, so it just wasn't going. He wasn't getting all the time he needed for it, and then he kept getting drug away, so he just never really got to sit down and hammer it out. And then he had the Duke of Urbino, who was a relative of Pope Julius, um, and their family they expected at least something of it and something for his tomb, because like I said, the Pope Julius, he wanted to be remembered as, this is what I did as a pope. He was a big art guy, and like the Sistine Chapel is well known, and he wanted, so even their family, the rest of their family, the descendants, they were like, "You're still under contract for us. You have to finish this. Like, we'll let you." They kept scaling down what they wanted out of it, but the Duke of Urbino, they and his men, they said, Vasari writes that Michelangelo was given 16,000 crowns for his work, and he was under contract still, so he had to produce something for them, for their family. And I guess I don't know how much a crown is, but it definitely was a lot of money at the time that Michelangelo was given to finish this work. Um, and so they start scaling down what they want out of it, and eventually they come to agree that it's only got to be one side. And Michelangelo, you do whatever you need to do to finish it. Just make it as easy as possible on yourself. At this point, just give us something. And so they were pretty fed up with Michelangelo and getting pulled away all the time. They in his contract, so he worked for like the Duke of Urbino, and his work was supposed to go into finishing the tomb, but then he also had to work for the Pope at the time for at least 4 months out of the year. And what he created was definitely still very impressive. I mean, that it doesn't even seem possible that a human could create that, especially with the tools at the time. And that's what Vasari even writes at the end, that the sculpture was incredible, but just nowhere near the original plans. So that's why I think that That is the bigger disappointment between the two.